Father, I come to you this morning, Lord, this afternoon, and God, our hearts are heavy. That's no secret, Lord. We lost a brother, a friend, a part of our family to most of us. And, Lord, I just pray that you'd be with every heart in this room. Lord, this is a lot of this is the hardest thing we've ever gone through. I can speak for a lot of people when I say that. And Lord, I just pray that you would give me strength today, Lord, to honor my friend, one of my best friends. And Lord, I just pray that you would each and every one of us comfort us today, comfort Ann and all the children, Lord, who just love Jay dearly. And we still do, Lord, and we always will. And Lord, it's a celebration today. That's what Jay would want to call it, is a celebration. And I just pray that we try to do it some justice today. And Lord, I just pray that you be with every heart in the room, Lord. And just comfort us, Lord. We cry for your comfort today to help us through this tough time. God, be with everyone in this room, Lord. And thank you for all you've done for us, Lord, in your Son's name. Amen. We're here to celebrate today. I know it doesn't feel like a celebration. I don't feel like it's a celebration. But if you look around, you see just how many people Jay touched. And Jay would definitely want us to celebrate him and his life. I'd like to start by reading a scripture. It's very familiar to most of you. But the Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Today, we have a lot of people that are going to come up and they're going to talk about Jay and what he meant to them. And one of Jay's greatest passions, as everyone knows, is music. So we're going to honor him in that way today also. Jay was survived by his parents, Carol and David Campbell, his father, James Dobbertin Sr., his brother, Matt, his beautiful wife, Ann, and his 5 awesome children, Jamie, Nikala, Kara, Allura, and Landon, and many, many, many friends. Like I said, Jay loved music, and anybody that knew Jay, that's what he talked about most of the time. And at this time, I'm going to have the artist known as Gordo perform a song, and he's going to be accompanied by Miss Carol. Thank you for that beautiful song, Lord. Jay had an amazing voice. Jay could sing so well. That's what he did most of his life. And he loved to play the guitar. Me and Jay both played the guitar, but I played the air guitar. Jay actually could play guitar very well. And nobody knows that like Jay's best friend, Dennis. So, Dennis, if you'd like to come up and do your song.
Most of you guys know Jay was a singer. I was not, so I apologize in advance. But I always hated, I was terrified of singing in public. Can't do it. So thinking about it for a while. The thing I can think to do is maybe sing a song that we wrote back in high school. Do my best. Apologize. You guys know the words, which you probably don't, but if you do, help me out.
As you can imagine, it takes a lot to get up here and pay tribute to your best friend and to someone that you just love so much, like we all did and do. We do have a few songs to be sung today, and a few people are going to speak. Laura, if you'd like to go ahead and do your song. She's next in the rotation. I think most of you can get that. It's not hard to see that Jay passed out his talent. Next up, I want to introduce Tiffany. I lost her. Up and say a few words. She was a close friend of Jay's also.
This Matt, Matt, he's really gonna make me follow that. That's not even cool. A lot of you don't know me, a lot of you do. As Ann knows, I can sing in front of anybody. I don't care, thousands, millions, it doesn't matter. Public speaking, however, not my strong suit, but I'm gonna give it a shot. Question is, how do you write a speech for something like this? How do you sum up a person's life in a few minutes? Ann asked me to speak at this service as a friend who was touched deeply by his influence in my life, and I humbly agreed. But I didn't realize that I knew it would be hard. I didn't realize it would likely be one of the most difficult things I've ever done. See, I've always prided myself to a degree on a pretty voluminous vocabulary. I'm a Leo, so pride's kind of my thing. Even when other misinformed and terribly misguided individuals are simply too blind to see my pure awesomeness. Hey, you told me to keep it real, so who am I to argue with your pure awesomeness? Anyway, I ran into a problem when I sat down to try to put all my thoughts on the paper. All these pretty words I've absorbed over the years and even know how to spell and put in a sentence properly, well, they kind of just abandoned me. I was actually kind of mad about that, because even when I was writing boring essays and term papers and book reports in school, books that I never even bothered to read, my gift of words was somehow always just there. I could fabricate damn near anything that was required, usually at the last minute. So I sat there for a few minutes, tears streaming unchecked down my face, and then I realized something really important. I'm pretty good at writing fiction. Make-believe, if you want to call it. I excel at escapism, helping others or even myself forget reality, even if it's just for a little while. What I never was very adept at, however, is nonfiction. And Jay was not only real life, he was larger than life. And he was a part of all of our lives. And then I realized something else even more important. I was trying to use my brain with all those random combinations of letters and punctuation to do something only my heart is qualified to do: speak truthfully. So I threw the dictionary of the thesaurus right out the damn window, and I decided to just be real. Who was Jay? I think every person who ever met him is going to have a slightly different answer to that question. To some, Jay was blood. He was a husband, a son, a grandson, a father, a brother, an uncle, a nephew, a cousin. They knew him longer and in a lot of ways better than others of us. The elders of those got to experience the joys and heartbreaks of watching a small boy grow and learn, triumph and fail, leap forward and slide back. They celebrated his successes with him and nursed his wounds. Through all that, they got to experience the priceless gift of watching a blank slate of a young human being with endless possible choices and outcomes blossom into the incredible and selfless man that he grew up to become. Others, younger than he, were blessed with the opportunity to learn from and emulate the man he became. He shared his struggles and life lessons with them so that their own path might be some small measure easier than his. As parents and older relatives, one of our greatest desires and accomplishments is to have the wisdom, usually hard-earned, to pave a slightly smoother road for those who travel it behind us. His children were his greatest and proudest achievement, and he loved them all beyond the limits of a mere physical body. As practically every parent who's ever lived can attest, helping your children navigate the twisting and turning roads of life is both the most rewarding, yet simultaneously terrifying feeling that a person could ever hope to dread or feel. Yet Jay approached the challenge with fortitude, temperance, and compassion. All the rest of us, the ones of us who don't share a bond of DNA with him, whose relationship was more ethereal and maybe less tangible, we were perhaps in our own way the most fortunate of all to have known him. Each of us started out as a stranger to Jay. And that's actually a pretty big misnomer, because anybody who knew Jay knew he never met a stranger. He was naturally so open and curious about new people in life that the stranger part of the equation was usually canceled out about the first 10 seconds of meeting. He was like a giant sun who brought people from all backgrounds into his orbit. Color, spirituality, sexuality, social and economic status, size and shape. All these things mattered to Jay a lot. They mattered insofar as how they made each person he encountered uniquely them. And that is exactly where the relevance began and ended. Jay didn't judge a soul. If he accepted you into his life, which naturally included his family's life, it was because he deemed you worthy of returning the same love and warmth that he radiated. He had such a huge heart that it seemed his capacity to love was boundless. There was never no room for new friends, as you can see by this room. New friends quickly became dear friends, who more often than not became family. That's why all of us non-blood bonded people here today are so lucky. We weren't blood. He had a choice to love us or not, to spend holidays with us or not, to share in life's joys and comfort in our sadness or not. He was in no way obligated to any of us by familial bonds and ties, yet he chose us anyway. And there's not a person in this room who's not a better person for having known him. All of us here should strive to be just a little bit more like him. Marry and cherish your soulmate. Give the best of ourselves like he did. Spoil your spouse like he did. Make that extra time, even when it's late, for your friends, like he did. Guide your children, even when it seems like they don't listen and you're talking to a brick wall, like he did. Smack a friend in the back of the head for screwing up their life, and then pull them into a crushing hug to show them that you still love them regardless, like he did. Love fiercely, laugh uproariously, fight seldomly, and forgive often. Stand up for what you believe in, even if nobody else to us seems to agree with you, and that includes rooting for the Chiefs. Leave the judging up to a higher power. Sing every day, even if it's off key. Learn to appreciate 80s hair metal. Always spend the extra few bucks for the good seats at the show. Don't waste your taste buds on anything that doesn't have bacon and or cheese in it, on it, or around it. Never drink cheap scotch or skunky beer. And always, always hug Ann every time you see her. Like I said last week, energy never dies or disappears. It just changes form. I see Jay all around me every day, and I feel him in my heart and my memories. He was the best and brightest of us all, and we not all carry a little piece of him within us. We're all one day further away from the last time we saw him, but we're one day closer to the next time that we'll see him. Keep an eye out for this motley crew of people who love and miss you, buddy. Enjoy the peace and walk quiet while you can, because none of us are getting any damn younger, you know. You're gonna have to save a lot of seats up there. You were and forever will be my broski. See you when I see you, buddy. I love you.
Tiffany. Jay's daughter Jamie to say a few things.
My sister, Mikala, wrote this, and I'm going to read it for her. Most people would think that distance, especially between Georgia and Michigan, would cause any type of relationship to be very hard. That was not the case with my dad and I. We had a special type of father-daughter relationship. We talked every day. Even so more where Michigan, the University of Michigan and Michigan State had games or played one another. I will miss the text saying, "You better go to this game, it'll be sweet." And the score updates, even when I was watching the game. I will miss getting any sort of text from him anymore. The random pictures of zombies and the weird text questions at 2 in the morning saying, "Do you know who Morris the cat is?" I wouldn't trade the memories of my dad for anything in the whole world. Not many girls get to say their dad helped them pick out their prom dress or that their dad got a pedicure with them. I am very lucky to have had the dad that would have done these things at all moments to enjoy them with me. For as far away as he was always there for me. He helped me pick out my first laptop, comfort me if I was upset, support me when I went through my first finals week. I was not sure what I would have done without the support of my dad my first year of college. One of my first thoughts when I found out he had passed away was that he'll never get to walk me or my sister down the aisle or be there on graduation day. But then I realized that I was looking at this all wrong. If there is one thing he taught me, it was to see a positive side. So thinking positive, he gets to be with me at all times of the day. I can't see him, but I know he's there. He taught me many other things as well, like having a strong opinion about something is okay, as long as you listen to the other's opinion as well. And don't try to focus for what you believe on others. Also, never judge someone. I know most people growing up get told this. My dad lived it. He never judged a single person for their beliefs or choice of football team. If he did not typically say it out loud. Another thing my dad did was prove that people can find their soulmates. Anne and my dad were absolutely perfect for one another. And I hope I will find a love just like theirs. I am happy Anne and her family are in my life. And I hope, if anything, this unfortunate will bring us all even closer. The more time I spent with my dad, the more I realized I was like him. And I pray that even though he isn't here, I continue to be more like him. He will always be in my heart, on my mind, and greatly missed.
Thank you, Jamie. She's right about that. If Michigan had a badminton team, Jay would be watching the game. Next up, we have another good friend of Jay's, Mike Johnson. If he could come up this time.
Can we all breathe real quick? Tiffany, I think you read my script.
Sorry.
Man. One of the hardest things you have to do is prepare a speech for somebody you really do care about. It's, like she said, it's easy to write something for somebody you really don't know much about. But somebody like Jay is. Something hard to do, but what can you say about Jay? What can you not say about Jay? What a great man he was. I've been pondering for days what to talk about in my mind. I've been all over the place. And I was thinking what kind of person Jay was, and the first thing that came to my mind was a friend. A true friend. A guy that would give his shirt off his back. I remember if there was something going on, we could always count on him. If it was advice about something personal or something business related, or just talking about the Chiefs, he was always there. One thing you could count on with Jay, he would never sugarcoat anything, but he was going to do his best to fix the problem. He always wanted everyone to be friends. See, because Jay was a friend with everyone. If it was someone he just met to someone he knew for years, he would go over and beyond for them. I recall one time, we were at Ann's house, and Ann sent Jay to the store to get something. And Jay didn't come back for hours. I mean, literally, he was gone for a while. He finally walked through the door, and Ann said, "Where have you been?" And Jay was talking about how he met this guy at the store, and they got to talking. And the weird thing was, I remember Jay holding up his phone, and he was like, "But I got his number." Never could figure that out, but he always, like she said, always could make friends with people. But he didn't care who you were, or the color of your skin, or if you were gay or straight. He always cared about making sure you were part of the group. And the main reason we're all here today is because he made us part of that group. If it was Thursday night karaoke to Friday night bonfires, or the old so famous JoJo Fest, which will carry on. He put it every year just for us all to be together. I remember the night that Jay found out one of his friends had passed away. He came to Benchwarmers. And we sat outside. It was weird. Just me and him on the patio. And he was telling me how upset he was. I was asking, I was like, what's going on? He said one of his friends, who happened to be gay, had passed away. And the law didn't allow his partner to determine a lot of what was going to happen to him. But I remember Jay telling me that he would see him again, that he knew the Lord, and that he was saved, and his friend was saved too. But Jay began to tell me what I didn't want to hear, and that was what would happen if something had happened to him. I knew he was really upset that night. He was also serious as well. But as I listened as he told me the story, he wanted us not to be sad. He said he didn't want any crybabies at his funeral. And he told me also too, he said that one thing he wanted us to do was do a toast to him. See, every Thursday night when we had karaoke at Benchwarmers, before we started off the show, we all did an Irish car bomb. That was our drink. That was always his favorite thing to do. And FYI, tonight we'll do an Irish car bomb for Jay at 6 o'clock at Benchwarmers, FYI. The last thing he wanted me to do, and I remember him staring at me, it was a weird, wicked feeling. But he told me to promise him one thing. He said, no matter what happens, make sure you take care of his family in a sweet end. Well, how much he loved his family. I remember numerous of times us talking about our kids. I remember him telling me how much he loved it here in Georgia with Ann, Jamie, and Karen, and Lyndon. I also remember him telling me how much he missed his girls. And every time something was going on with them, I remember one day he was telling me how excited he was that his daughters were flying down to see him. He was like a kid in a candy store. He was so funny. He called me and said he was at work and he should have took the day off because all he could think about was them coming down. Then I recall the old so famous prom dress story. He told me, he's like, yeah, I want to go take my oldest daughter prom dress shopping. I laughed at him and said, you going or is Ann going? He looked at me and said, probably Ann's going. You want to go to Benchwarmers? But one thing I can say for sure, how much he really loved you guys, especially you two. You may not have been here in person that much, but you were always there in his heart. So never, ever, ever wonder how much your dad loved you. Because there was no words that he could say to tell how much he loved y'all. And then there was his sweet wife, Ann. What can you say about him? Jay loved you so much. You meant so much to him, and how I remember he kept telling me how you saved his life in so many ways. The one thing about Jay and Ann is you never saw them apart. They were always together. They didn't have to hold hands. They didn't have to kiss each other. You just could see the love that they had for each other. Everybody wants a relationship like Jay and Ann have. A love that's so true and so real. a lot of us will take what you guys have taught us and put in our personal relationships. As I finish up today, I want to tell Ann and the family how much we really do love y'all. And we're here for you guys. And Jay, and my brother, life will never, ever be the same without you. But I promise you, with everybody in this room, you will never be forgotten. Your spirit will live on through all of us, through all the days of our lives. I love you until we meet again.
Thank you, Mike. Now this time, me and Mike are going to sing one of Jay's favorite songs that he loved us to sing. Hallelujah.
I heard there was a secret chord that David played and he pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do you? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall and the major lift. The baffled king composing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof. Her beauty in the moonlight overthrew you. She tied you to her kitchen chair. She broke your throat and cut your hair. And from your lips she drew the hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Maybe I've been here before. I know this room and I walk this floor. I used to live alone before I knew you. And I seen your flag on the marble arch. And love is not a victory march, so it's holding it's a broken hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
And there was a time when you let me know what's really going on below. But now you never show that to me, do ya? I remember when I moved in you, the holy dove was moving too. And every breath we drew was hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Maybe there's a God above, but all I've ever learned from love is how to shoot at someone who outdrew you. Well, it's not a cry that you hear at night. It's not somebody who's seen the light. So golden, it's a broken hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Next up, we have Jay's son, Landon. Come on up, Landon. I know it's tough for everybody. I appreciate everybody being patient with us today. Jay would kick all our butts for crying, by the way.
When Jay came into my life, I thought, new person, this ain't gonna be fun. That was when I was very young. I mean, I fast forward a couple years, and he was my family. He was the person I could talk to when I had no one else. If I wanted to know anything I wanted to, I'd go to him. And also, the main thing, he was there for my family. And no matter what, he would still be there. Jay, I love you and I will miss you. But with your passing, I know one thing is true. The saying, we stand together, family forever.
Thank you, Landon. Next, we'll have Kenny Barber come up and say a few things. Come on up, Kenny.
Pretty profound, this song that just happened. Jay's got an ability to connect people even from heaven on the other side. Really beautiful. So I think we can all agree that the world has experienced a profound loss with the passing of our friend Jay. And as we attempt to comprehend it, I hope we all can find some comfort in knowing that each tear that we shed is a note of love rising to the heavens. It feels like such a tragedy because his passing was so sudden and unexpected, and we are now forced to continue our lives without his particular sense of humor, his laugh, or his kind nature that we all had an opportunity to appreciate. I've known Jay since the mid-2000s when Anne began working with my wife. While we spent a lot of time together recently and shared a lot of great moments, we were friends, but I don't know that Jay would have considered me a close friend. And that's really okay, because what connected us was not time or history or experiences, but something deeper, a shared set of beliefs, a tribal alignment to values more important than us as individuals. Jay was a great musician, and I love being around musicians, I always have. There's something so interesting about witnessing both the insertion and extraction of emotion into these invisible waves of sound. Much like the spectrum of colors that are perceived from rays of light, music has the primordial ability to transcend language, to evoke emotion, and to connect people. Jay believed in the power of music and sacrificed so much to deliver it to us weekly and allow us to be part of its creation. So difficult to imagine Karaoke Friday without Jay behind the booth, nodding his head and smiling, pretending not to be aggravated when I need to change my song at the last minute. Jay loved to laugh, and I'll never forget that sort of goofy giggle and sarcastic sense of humor. Jay had the ability to find the good in things and not take life too seriously. I know it will be difficult, but I sincerely hope that Anne will be able to hold on to that quality and her quirky sense of humor. This is the part that probably hurts the most, knowing how badly her loss must feel, but also knowing how important it will be to continue to laugh and to love as hard as always. And they loved each other so much. They were the best of friends. But everyone around Jay became his friend somehow. He was so accepting of everyone who entered his life. Other than Matt Castle, I can't really think of anyone that Jay actually disliked. Some of us build walls around our emotions because of the fear of pain and loss, but Jay was always completely exposed and vulnerable at the same time. He never judged those that he encountered. And this, in my opinion, was his most remarkable quality. his ability to give himself fully to the world for the good of us all. It's cliche to say that death is part of life and that we never know when the end will come, but knowing Jay, I think he would agree and hope for us to find serendipity to gain something positive from the tragedy of our loss. I think he would urge us to live each day to the fullest and to say, "You're beautiful and I love you" more often. And I imagine that Jay's task for us would be to let his life work through ours. Jay believed in music and laughter and love, and we have an opportunity to keep his legacy alive by bringing harmony to the world through music, joy to the world through laughter, and peace to the world by loving hard and accepting all without judgment. Finally, I just wanted to share a poem which I think Jay would have appreciated. It's called A Song of Living by Amelia Burr. Because I have loved life, I shall have no sorrow to die. I have sent up my gladness on wings to be lost in the blue of the sky. I have run and leaped with the rain. I have taken the wind to my breast. My cheeks like a drowsy child to the face of the earth I have pressed. Because I have loved life, I shall have no sorrow to die. I have kissed young love on the lips. I have heard his song to the end. I have struck my hand like a seal in the loyal hand of a friend. I have known the peace of heaven, the comfort of work well done. I have longed for death and darkness and risen alive out of hell. Because I have loved life, I shall have no sorrow to die. I gave a share of my soul to the world, when and where my course is run. I know that another shall finish the task I surely must leave undone. I know that no flower nor flint was in vain on the path I trod. As one looks on a face through a window, through life I have looked on God. Because I have loved life, I shall have no sorrow to die.
A lot of good points of Jay's life. Football was one of Jay's biggest passions. And if you were smart, you wouldn't get in an argument with Jay over anything, really, but especially football. If you had a score wrong or if you had something wrong, he was going to let you know it. And that's not an argument that you were going to win. As you've seen and heard by everybody that even knew Jay loved him dearly. And you didn't even have to know Jay for very long. I know there's some of you here that seen Jay a few times or met him or was acquaintance, but you all know that as soon as you saw him, you felt like you were his best friend. And that's what he did for all of us. He made me feel like I was a part of his family. And Jay loved four things more than anything: Ann, his kids, his friends, and music. For the past year or two, Jay and I had both been DJing a lot around town and running karaoke shows, and Jay loved doing that more than anything. We were so excited we finally got to work at the same place together and promote together, and it's something we'd never gotten to do over the last 2 years. And we often joked about how everybody thought they could be a DJ, but how hard it really was. And Jay was also the inventor of kamikaze karaoke. And if you're not sure what that is, you can ask his daughter, Kara. She was very familiar with that. Kamikaze karaoke is when Jay picks your song and you have no idea what it is. Inside of 2 years, Jay he'd become one of the most successful karaoke hosts in town. He always had a show going on, and there's nothing more he loved than a full rotation, his family and his friends hanging out, singing, and playing pool. That's what we did. That's what we all did together. And the one thing we all have in common is a lot of us, Jay was our best friend. You know, we can never say who someone's best friend was, but I know he was my best friend. And a lot of us here, he was our best friend. It's just, you know, and I know it seems so surreal, and it still doesn't seem real to most of us. I understand that. I told Ann this morning I'm still waiting on him to text me back. You know, as everybody said too, and I know I'm repeating myself a little bit, but he loved sports. He loved football. He loved basketball. I didn't even know Jay watched basketball until about 2 years ago, and when this year when Michigan went all the way, I mean that's all you heard from Jay every text, every time you talked to him. One of the things I told Jay one time this past year, I said, Jay, you know what I love about you? And he kind of looked at me and he said, what? And I said, you can't put a label on you. And that was absolutely true to anybody who knew him. I said, you love NASCAR, but you're not a redneck. I said, you're from Michigan, but you're not a Yankee. Jay basically shattered any stereotype that you could ever imagine. He shattered it all in one motion. I think the thing that we remember most about Jay is how much he loved Ann. Jay and Ann had something that most people search their whole lives and can't find. They had such a passionate, dynamic relationship, and every time you saw them, it was just evident. And that's what was said earlier. They didn't have to be hugging or kissing or anything, but you could just tell. You could look at both of them and tell how much they were in love. None of us know the pain to come for Ann and the family, but what we can do, and what Jay would want us to do, is show our love and support and just be there for each other. I look around, and something that's helped me through this time is just looking at all the people that Jay loved. Jay loved Rex, his nephew. He loved you so much. Anytime he talked about Rex, his face just lit up. He said, Rex is in town. And that's one thing that's helped me so much, looking around. Polo, talking about changing your song, before rotation. He loved you, Polo. He loved all you guys. And I was just so fortunate. And one thing I am thankful. I'm thankful for the little things now. I got to spend so much time with Jay in the last just several months. And one of the last times, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, it was with me, Gordo, and Jay, and Meredith, and Jose were all together in Polo. And that hadn't happened in a little while, and it was just awesome to all be there together. And the one thing we all had in common is Jay. Jay and Ann have brought all of us together. That's the reason a lot of us are best friends now, is because of Jay. I did want to just read you before we get ready to close out. I wanted to read you one passage of scripture, and I really struggled with this, trying to find something that that kind of fit Jay and for the situation. The Bible only records one time of Jesus weeping, and the one time that it records it was over his friend Lazarus, who had died. Jesus wept over his friend. And that's in John 11, 32, 36. I was going to read you that real quick. Okay, I don't think that's it. I won't read the passage, but basically when he had heard the news that Lazarus had died, he wept, and that's the verse that says Jesus wept in the Bible. And Jesus knows what it's like to lose a friend, and I know it's kind of hard to grasp. But Jesus feels the pain that we're feeling today. We've lost our friend, our brother, our son, our dad. I mean, the kind of pain you just can't, there's no description for it. And Jay is definitely the closest person that I've ever lost in my life ever. So it's definitely a new feeling. But what I just want to leave you with is he can help us with the pain if we'll let him, and he will. And the Bible also says a friend loveth at all times. And all of us that know Jay know that that's exactly what he did. He loved us all the time. It didn't matter what you had to come tell Jay. It didn't matter what kind of news you had to give him or anything. He would never judge you, like has been said today. He was just, there's an 80s song that's Tina Turner, Simply the Best. And that just kept coming to my mind the last 4 days. Jay was simply the best. He was the best friend that you could ever ask for. He lived life to the fullest, and he loved the people around him, making everyone's life that much better. he will be greatly, greatly, greatly missed. And there's no words to describe. He was a part of our everyday lives. A lot of us talk to him every day, saw him every day. But one thing is for certain, Jay will never, never be forgotten. Never. I love you guys very much. I love you, Ann, and your family. And I just really pray for Ann and at this time and her family and all the kids and all his friends. It's just, obviously it's just a very tough time. And we appreciate everyone coming today and showing their support. Look around. This is what Jay was about, bringing people together. And like I said, he would kick all our butts for crying, but that's just too bad. Mike was right. He would want us, he said that to more than a few people, that he wanted everybody to toast, and he wanted everybody to celebrate his life. And I hope we've done that today, just to show you what an awesome, great man that he was, and how greatly missed he'll be. Everyone's welcome to join us at 6 o'clock at Benchwarmers. We're going to have a toast in Jay's name. And of course, we'll say some memories and stories. The stories and the jokes are just a lot. So if you have something you'd like to share there, that would be the place to do it. But again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming and everybody for speaking and singing. It was great. And I'd just like to close this out in prayer before we get dismissed. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this day, Lord. And God, we have heavy hearts today. God, just unimaginable, Lord. And a lot of us are just hurting, and we have pain in our hearts, Lord, like we've never felt before. But God, I know you're the comforter, Lord, and you're the only one that can make it better. And I just pray that you would help us today. If there's someone here that doesn't know you, Lord, I pray that they would come talk to somebody and get that settled, Lord, because that's what you want, God. And I just pray that we would turn to you during this time and to each other. Lord, Jay brought a lot of people together, Lord, and that's what he did. He was just the best. And Lord, I just pray that you bless the rest of this day, Lord. Be with the family in the way only you can. And we bless you and thank you for all you've done. In your son's name, amen. Thank you, everybody, for coming. You're dismissed.